Benjamin Gatana ye muwanika w'ekibiina kya National Unity Platform olwaleero nga bali embala atuusiddwako obulabe omusirikale wa poliisi njagala osooka olaba akatambi kano.
No, don't lower it. I want to record. Don't lower it.
Can I give you free transport? But what's wrong with me asking you a question? No, don't look at it.
No, don't lower it. I want to record. Don't lower it.
Can I give you free transport? But what's wrong with me asking you a question? No, don't look at it.
Olabye omusirikale oyo Kyakoze bamubuuza ekibuuzo n'akana give me free transport namugamba kizibu ki oba musango ki nzo okubuuza ekibuuzo namukuba ekigala ky'emmundu n'afuuyira tiya gaasi mu mmotoka. Bye bikolo bye bakola poliisi negana abakyagulanyi bakola effujjo. Kitumwa Lusoke ali buli wamu agenda abebera ayogera ebigambo bitakwatagana ku nsonga ezigenda mu maaso ku bannayuganda ngalaga nti bannayuganda bakozi b'ebikolobero baba poliisi balongoofu era tewali mupoliisi n'omu gwe bakutte ng'akola ebikolobero ku bawagizi ba Kyagulanyi bo balongoofu era bamubuuza ekibuuzo agambye muno waliwo eyaloopye n'agamba abasirikale mbawakolebwako effujjo bo baloopye tebula bakwata abawagizi ba Kyagulanyi kubanga akola effujjo ku bapoliisi kati omupoliisi mukwata ali munda. So ku ebibuuzo byazzeemu enyanukula gyantulamu Kitumwa Lusoke.
Abantu abamu babadde tebazigoberera ensonga zaffe nga bwe tuzirambika. Twafuna abapoliisi, tulina abapoliisi abakubiddwa, tuyina emmotoka za poliisi kati nga 10 oba yeno emmotoka ya poliisi almost buli wayitawo olunaku bakuba omuntu bakola ebintu ebitakkirizibwa. Bw'ogenda bw'olaba kati nga incident ya Abimu bakuba omuntu n'agenda ne ku kitanda. Sofa abasirikale betu abakakubibwa abaana abo bitukutte tebaka wansi wa bana n'abalala bangi badde bafunanga ebisago naye nga tugezaako nnyo okulaba nti embeera tetugiwanvu ya nnyo okugezaako okukola ki okulaba nti campaign zigenda bulungi naye waliwo we tutuuse ne tugamba no okuba leero n'obuuki ate abasinga bonna babadde nga ku drones ezo babira ku drones ezo bayina gloves ziriko obuuma so
ababera ku drone Kitumwa Lusoke balabatanga kuba abasirikale drone eva ziba ku moving time zivaako zityaba drone eziri mu moving ezitambula zivaako zitya ezikuba abakuba abasirikale nga zisimbula basimbudde ne batambula paka kulaale we bagenda ne bakola laale kati abakuba abasirikale bava batya ku drone ne bakuba lwaki tebabatulaga nga bavaako okitegedde bakola boke nnyini effujjo ne babulwako engeri gye bali accountinga mu fo eri bannayuganda kati nga balina okiteeka ku Kyagulanyi nti yakoze effujjo atambula n'abakuba abasirikale nga bakuba bakoze eki nga Kyagulanyi lwabira agamba bannaye temukola ffujjo ku baganda baffe abo kati bano abava mu ne bakuba abasirikale bakubira ki tebalina bujulizi bulaga ekyo ne bakiteekawo okufuna ekyekwaso ensonga yabwe gye bakola effujjo bakola ku Kyagulanyi libeere nga lirina ensonga gye bayimirirako nenga ensi yonna eraba amazima.
Juzi bakubya abapoliisi bo tulina ne files so leero tusazeewo tukole ekikwekweto tubakwate nga nabo balaba buli omu ng'alaba era kyetugamba tugenda kubatwala mu mbuga z'amateeka. Ekirala bino abantu badde basuubira nti tujja kukozesa tear gas tetugenda kukozesa tear gas kutandika kubonyaabonya n'abantu abataluliimu. Bw'okola effujjo tujjanga poliisi ne tukutuukiriranga gwe ne tukukwata wonna we tukusanze.
Mukuteba mmeka era abantu bano kyekyatuuka kubanga omuntu bwamba mumunoonya mumusindikira ebbaluwa ekugamba nti tukunoonya ku poliisi jangu.
Foot soldier toyinza musindikira bbaluwa. Foot soldier ofuna obudde bwo bw'owulira nga operation ekola n'omukwata.
Foot soldier yali simu nayo atasula musolo owulira mentality gye balimu nti bo kyebakola bakikola ffujje n'Omuseveni so si lwa bannayuganda kati ono omusirikale ayogerera ekitongole kya poliisi yandibadde ajjawa okwawulamu bannayuganda ono foot soldier ono yono let me tell you this. Boba obongo wa ufu. Ne ku bantu bonna bakutembala abasinga baana b'embalala. N'abawagizi bali batambula ne Kyagulanyi. Ojo sang bafutira kuliko nga babiri wa basatu. Bokka bakutte. Atenga tuna wale kunga bakole fujjo. Kati bakutte Olivia Kwagala. Yada ukoze fujjo wa. One. Yakuba musirikale. Ngati mulabira kataminga bakwata Olivia Kwagala nga bamukuba nenga talina kyakoze muntu no. Kati awo fujjo liriwa. Katamiro tandikidde kenyina ko musirikale akubye Benjamin Gatana Chimundu abadde amukoze eki. Okitegedde? Kati ero si fujjo posta kola fujjo. Wale bantu bakole fujjo ku police. Ate police bakola ke fujjo ne mubuuza lwaki ankola ke fujjo. Olonzizo omusango nkoze ataka ku musirikale. Gwempeero omusolo ne musasula sente zimbezaawo. Bamubuuza ekibuuzo, why are you beating me? Then olonzizo omusango kati nze mbanja kuvunaanwa okubuuza olusirikale lwaki onkuba. Tumanyiddwa n'enkodo mali zino.
Ekyokubiri is numbers zo just change okubuulira is operation ebaddewo saawa 10:30. So operational commanders ku ground bajja kuba batuwa statistics bameka be bakutte then tuveeyera mutongole tubabuulire. Abantu bano bemukutte mwabasangako aluwa ne muyingira mu hotel ne muyola yabamu. Juzi mwabadde babadde embala ne bayola yabamu. Mugenda okubayola nga bakava ekiruhura kuba kuba miggo. Abakiruhura baba kuba emiggo mwakakwata kuba meka. Ngabo bwe bawaliwo yakubibwa alope. Polisi weri babuuze waliwo omukubo yenna yalopye omusango gwonna. You get it? Naye ffe kye tugamba tojja kukeera kumaca tugezezaako nnyo okulaba nti abaana baffe abapoliisi tuba controlling then nokafuula muzannyo nti okuba bukubi ba poliisi wano nawali basonkereza balabe nti kwanga tuwulira abamu bagamba nti elections zibowaringa kwanga temuli tear gas era still twagala kakasa temujja kubaamu tear gas naye kye tujja okukola is tujja kukwata n'obuvumu omuntu oyo yenna agezaako okumenya amateeka. Afande bw'ogamba nti gwe bakuba alope ky'ogamba ebyali ekiruhura temwabiraba mulina we munoonyereza mulina we mutuuse mu kunoonyereza oba ebyaliyo byo byonna temulina kye mwalaba. Ebyali ekiruhura okunoonyereza nako gye kuli kubanga poliisi ya picking interest naye bw'oba oyina omuntu usongako olunwe nti yoono kwatagana ne poliisi ffe kye tugamba kyokka totwalira mateeka mu ngalo. That's kyekyo kyokka.
Kale polisi yo kyakoze kibadde ki sikutwalira amateeka mu ngalo ki eddembe lyavaawa nti bwebanga polisi nkuumi ya ddembe nolwekyo yo bwe bajja okunkwata erina kunkuba kusooka kummenya kunnyambula olwo yebere nga tetwalidde mateeka mu ngalo gye eddembe polisi erijjawa bwe tebavukibwa constitution yomunaffe etufuga bannayuganda nti bw'abanga ajja okunkwata alina eddembe erinkuba erimmenya n'erinzita. Yetalina kumpa mukatibwa kange kiva ku kibojja n'ongamba nti nkutwala jja tugende nontwala kiva ku kinno ojja kusooka kujja n'oziba ekkubo n'oteekawo emisanvu n'okubakuba buli omu n'okugamba mbadde nzija kukwata badde bakuba basirikale lwaki bali tebakwata luli nga bakuba osobola okutawera bbanga nolwokukwata onoonya bakuba basirikale bo bamanyi be baani lwaki osobola n'ofumya amannya nti amannya gano Luyimbaazi Sekitoleko Yasin Kalema Serujjo Sewajo Okota mwakuba abasirikale baffe tubeetaaga bwe muteereeta tugenda kubakwata lwaki tosooka n'ofulumya amannya gaabo kati abasirikale abo bakulopera nno batukubye baloopa nti ani yabakubye ani oyo gwe baloopa gwe bakusonga mugambe kati musooke musonge ku musirikale akoze omusango oba abatujju abataddeko abakoze okubulabe tujja kubakwata kati mbuuza abasirikale basonga ku baani bemunoonya da bemukutte tewali gwe bali basonzeeko mukwata bukwasi mbusi tujja kuba tear gas tetujja kuba tear gas kubanga bagatube ate agenda twagala mukube tear gas olabyeko akole fujjo ku bantu batambula makubo gaabwe ne mubasalako mu kkubo mmweke nnyini ne mutanoko tetwagala kuba tear gas batugamba akalulu kabowa temuli mu tear gas ngaddi tear gas bwali mu kampane yakunoonya akalulu tewali ye basabya ku tear gas wammwe naye emisango gino Museveni gyalina mu kooti y'ensi yonna gimukankanya empale kati ayagala nnyo okubaako kyakola ayagala nnyo okubaako kyakola kati afune mbaita agamenti abo bakuba abasirikale yensonga lwaki twabakutte bireme genda mu kooti yansi yonna yegwe mulamu gwaliko naye tubalaba byonna bimukola kamera zibalaba ono Lusoke ebyo byayogedde ebigambo ebyo byayogedde
n'amakumbi wamu n'omulabi
Lusoke tumuyitane Benjamin Katana bwenakulaze mu ntandikwa ngwa poliisi amukuba ekigala ky'emmundu bamuyise ku NBS bogere ku nsonga ezibaddewo olwaleero tulina abaana ba Nuubu bali balizoninga Benjamin Katana Kyakoze Kitumwa Lusoke nkuko baana ku NBS yawe amrezoninze out nekola Kitumwa Lusoke bwakanula amaaso naso tulabe ku kiki ekibaddewo ku NBS Benjamin Katana nga educating alaga bano bibatamanyi tutandike tuti
and the viewers of NBS. Today we conducted our first rally at the playground of Mbarara High School in Mbarara City, and we are headed for our two rallies in Mbarara district, that is at Wizugera and Ruvindi. Unfortunately, we were laid by the security forces. A number of us were assaulted. A number of people were arrested, especially the young people from Mbarara town, who, out of excitement and love, were following the candidate. Many of us have been assaulted, including myself and our other leaders. You have seen ladies who were undressed by the police officers. And this coming on the heels of what transpired the other day at Sanga in Chiruhura. Clearly, you see that there is a choreographed strategy by the security forces, of course working at the behest of the NRM and its candidate, to frustrate and curtail our movement and campaigns. By strategy and character, the NRM thrives largely by instilling fear in the population, and they carry out these activities to reinforce that fear. They know that our activities have the impact on the population in making them firm and bold in standing up for their country and what they believe in. So we condemn in the strongest terms possible the criminal conduct of the security forces. And I have had, while on this call, the explanation from the Secretary General of the NRM. I think the NRM is being dishonest in respect how they are dealing with this matter, because the people that were captured on camera involved in this exercise involve one of the leaders of NRM in the area, the mayor of Sanga, and the other leaders from that region. You have seen explanations from the political leadership of Chiruhura district clearly indicating that the actions were sanctioned by the party leadership at that level. It is also very evident from the involvement of police at the scene and subsequently the way they came and arrested our people, the victims. It clearly shows that the criminal conduct of those fellows at Sanga had the sanctioning of both the party and the government. So clearly these are not incidents that are accidental. They are part of a bigger strategy to undermine our campaign, to instill fear in the population as a way of undermining this process.
Spokesperson of the police, Officer Kitumwa Lusoke, number one, how is it possible?
Sura ulide bulungi Benjamin Katana bwanyonyodde ensonga azisengesenga mukaka munyo kanyaga osokolire Kitumwa Lusoke bambuze ekibuuzo byayanukula basira bwana ye omutwege kati yagwera biralinga enanga musajja watu yawumule yali yakola bibye tebalina buzibu ababogezi naye babatuma okwogera bibaswaza soko ulire Kitumwa Lusoke.
That individuals whose faces are all over social media behaved the way they did in what the Electoral Commission calls illegal in Chiruhura, and up to now they are unarrested. They're not yet arrested. And number two, what exactly prompted what happened in Mbarara and Mbarara City?
Thank you, Ndugu. I think let me answer the last question first. why did police do what it did?
Ndozo yakubanga aina kulamuwa katabimwerabira. Tayagala kwogera ku kiri ekyabaddewo nga Kyagulanyi agenda ekazo. Ekyo ekyabaddewo nga ba NRM bakutte emiggo bakuba abawagizi ba Kyagulanyi ate namuggo nagumu tayagala kukyogerako. Era ayagala so kino kyebamuwaddeko kulamuwa katakyerabira lwaki tukoze ekikweko lwaki tuzibe kubba ne tukwata wuliriza.
We came out all along warning our brothers that there was a certain way in which they were conducting themselves that was not tolerable. There are a number of things that have not been going on the campaign trail, but as police and other security agencies, we have tried as much as possible to restrain ourselves. Now, specifically on these arrests, the cases against which we have against the persons we arrested are very, very clear. They are in the open. There was an attack on officers of police. Vehicles of police were vandalized. We raised these matters before them. We have been before the Electoral Commission with them, raising these issues, telling them that exploit our conduct, our restraint, the manner in which we are trying to approach this election, and they have always taken it for a joke.
So what you're saying is that you had a list of individuals you were tracking and you are looking for, and these are the ones you were out there to get.
They have been attacking officers and moving back to their crowds. We have been profiling them. Of course, there are those who were arrested today because of interfering with the operational process. And I guess everybody knows that when you interfere with an officer who is on duty, you also become culpable.
Okay.
But what I want to make very, very clear here is that there are specific allegations against the persons arrested.
Okay.
And we came looking for them. We have warned them before. They have not taken the heed to the warning. And this is when we came in and acted.
Of course, police has been improving over the time, but is there an apology for some of the images that were seen during the operation of body parts of individuals showing? Is that something that is regrettable?
I have not watched those images, so I may not be in position to make a comment.
I'll come back to you, officer. Mr. Joseph Ocheno, everybody had said that the campaign had gone on smoothly, but some were saying that it takes two to tango, partly because also the candidates and their supporters were behaving in a manner that did not elicit the operations of the force. Having heard from Kanso Katana and from the police spokesperson, what's your take?
Indeed, and also having watched some of the clips. I'll tell you that I'm very disappointed this evening. You know that I think I've been told this program of yours that we were yet to blow candles for celebrations because this election cycle is not going to be seeing violence, we thought, and it was not going to see bloodshed, we thought, and I think we celebrated rather too early. I'm just very quickly concerned about the observation by Officer Lusoke, particularly on the conduct of the members of political activists, in this case NUP. I'm not quite sure because, as I said, I was also coming from upcountry earlier today from where I saw rather much more muted organized campaigning taking place within my corners of Nagongera for various political positions. So I didn't expect I would be finding this. I don't know how that would involve the detention of a political party leader. I talk as somebody who's got interest in these elections, not beyond the fact that I should really be a candidate for president, but simply because my political party was the political party that in 1980 saw an election in which people talked about election rigging. I was the first-time voter in 1980 in Nagongera, and I carried the UPM flag very freely from Nagongera Trading Center to my home in a predominantly, in fact, nearly exclusively UPC space. I do not remember having anybody challenge me on that. I find it extraordinary that this is something that should happen in my country, that anywhere in this country there are restrictions for candidates to go and for political party flags.
But Joseph, he does make a point suggesting that whereas it is true that it is election season and it is campaign season, it does not mean that people do not commit offenses for which the police has to make arrests. And not too long ago, the police complained that its vehicle had been vandalized and equipment had been lost. Perhaps during those investigations, there were individuals they have been looking for. Should the police just let those individuals off the hook because it is campaign season and that it will be seen in bad light?
Absolutely not, and I'm not suggesting otherwise. Actually, I'm very tough on law and order as far as I am, and indeed the political party that I represent outside these commentaries. I'm simply saying that if it is the case that members of NUP were involved and they were suspects, they should be arrested, they should be arraigned in court, and they should be treated accordingly. I'm just simply saying I do not have sufficient information linking to what I just watched before coming on air on how Robert then becomes a direct target to this. But that said, really, let me say this as a political leader. I have spent time campaigning for return to pluralism in this country, and so has my party. I substantially and completely reject the idea that election times, instead of us talking about bad roads in Nigeria, we are talking about policing or failure of candidates. It's absolutely the responsibility of political party leaders, and this led by Mr. Museveni, candidate Museveni, who, because he is the big candidate as president of this country. The tone must come from him, but the tone must also come from Robert Kyagulanyi and indeed all political party leaders as candidates and political party leaders at district and lower levels, that violence is unacceptable, so that they create an enabling environment in which the police does its policing role.
Council Benjamin Katana, the police is saying that it's
Manyi mwa abantu bachaza ku TV nabo ngatamanyi byakwogera nga waliwo kajja just kubugumyamu nega njaso tuyono kwa police biogera tebiriyo kaluya Katana.
This equipment was vandalized. Their equipment has been vandalized, and that some of your supporters that you may or may not know, but the police does know them, have pressed the police for far too long. A vehicle. The police complained about a vehicle that had been vandalized and its equipment went missing, and that they are coming looking for these individuals that are responsible for those actions. Do you have any problem with the police looking for individuals that have crossed the red line?
I think, Simon, Samson, the point is that enforcement is not a licensed criminality. I have given you information regarding the assault on citizens against whom there are no allegations. Indeed, even if there were any allegations against them, it did not call for that criminal conduct of police. But number two, enforcement of the law by Uganda Police Force must be conducted within the confines of the law. And I think the officer in studio and his colleagues must be reminded that they are not law unto themselves. But two is that every time any security agencies today and in history have descended into criminal activities, they must always find excuses. When State Research Bureau was abducting people, they had similar flimsy excuses. If there are people that have committed any crimes, they can be arrested, but while doing it, police must not break the law. I have given you an example that I was personally assaulted by a police officer. Am I also being investigated for assaulting police officers or for vandalizing their property? I think whatever excuses they have, they cannot justify in any way unnecessary disruption of our campaign programs, unnecessary assault and brutalization of citizens, whether they belong to NUP or any other party. But also there is a context that this has not just happened. The other day it was at Sanga in Chiruhura. Today it was on Mbarara Ibanda Road. Clearly you see that there is a clear choreographed strategy that is aimed, and we have missed 2 rallies today while other candidates are campaigning. Clearly you see that there is a choreographed strategy that is aimed at undermining our mobilization, that is aimed at undermining our campaigns, the flimsy excuses that police is relying on notwithstanding. It is very clear that the police force has chosen to take a side in this contest. It is unlawful, it is regrettable, but we want to give confidence to the people of Uganda that these are not signs of strength, but signs of weakness. Because if our opponent clearly had support of the population, he would not be engaging in using state institutions to do politics. But we are going to continue moving and marching forward. We will not be stopped.
Thank you. Officer Kitumwa Lusoke, he's on record that you chose not to comment about the Nkoni welding men and why they are not arrested. You chose not to comment.
Let me say this. First and foremost, whatever you saw in Chiruhura is under investigation.
Okay.
Yes.
That's enough.
Let me add this. There are people who have been thinking that we shall be using tear gas and throwing Molotovs in a...
Oh yeah, no zakazanyo kebalimu. Kati bogera kimu ku tear gas. Balooza mbuno wa Uganda obongo wa buli mu bya tear gas. Era mbu bajja kutiisa bannayuganda mbuno tetugenda kuba tear gas, Kyagulanyi tuba kuba tear gas, tetujja kuba tear gas, tujja kukwata abakola effujjo abali ne Kyagulanyi. Kazanyo na script ne mugenda kusemba ne script yamu. Musobola mutako bujulizi ngefujjo bali bakolako. Oshitegedde. Ye tear gas mwandibadde mukubanga ku kiki ekikubisa tear gas, ekikubisa tear gas. Twali ekalakasa, twali okutemiga olwana na munne. Babadde baina mugabana bakubaba nopu temwafuddeyo era temwagala kubakwata mukyabinoonyerezaako. Kati mbuuza tear gas mwandibadde mukuba waaki tewali ensonga ekubisa tear gas ne munoonyawo ensonga stopping. Ate waliwo kayogedde mukulu awanika ssente za National Platform Kanso Katana Benjamin agambye bakola bino to disturb to okusala speed ya Kyagulanyi gyanoonyezaamu akalulu kye baliko. Kati afiddwa laale ebbiri olwaleero akozeeko ebbiri tazikoze. Oba nkitegeera ebbiri tazikoze azifiiriddwa kye baliko tumulemesa ebitundemu obutabituukamu kye baliko gwe omuzannyo gwe bazannya naye eno bagise protest vote Ugandans are so ready